Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for April 11th. We've made it 1 week away from the mothership, the main event of WWE, but we've got so much stuff to talk about with you today. But let me tell you first some holidays that are going on today before we get it too far into it. It is Barbershop Quartet Day. 8-track tape day. And if you don't know an 8-track tape day, maybe ask your parents or your grandparents. Or you can just email me. I'll tell you what an 8-track tape is. National Pet Day and National Submarine Day. Birthdays today. I've got one right now that Dustin Rhodes is 57 today. Happy birthday, Gold Dust, Dustin Rhodes. AEW guy, we're super excited for your birthday. Hopefully he'll be back soon. He had serious surgery over a year ago. So we'll check, but hopefully he's back real soon. That's the only birthday today. Interested in roller derby? Would you want to be a skater or officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join a Rock City Roller Derby. I'm your humble host this morning. I am the Cash Man. Hello, how are you doing today? It's a beautiful sunny Saturday here in Rochester, New York on this 11th day of April. I'm also joined by DC Dan Cole, DC from NC. How's the weather in NC, DC?
It's a beautiful 70-degree morning here.
Wow. Well,
I was worried I wasn't going to make it on time. I felt like I needed to wear something special for today to mark a recent occasion that hasn't happened in quite some time, and I had to go way deep into the storage to find this.
Oh, I can't wait to see the video. Oh, look at that. It's the slug.
It's the Buffa Slug.
It's a Buffa slug. Why not? You know what? Celebrate it while you can, man. That's awesome. It's a beautiful year for the Sabres. We're also joined by Rob Sanderson, formerly known as Artiste, from Rochester Parts Unknown. Rob Sanderson, how are you doing this wonderful sunny morning in April?
I think I'm here.
You are
Maybe.
here.
Good morning.
You are here.
I have no comments yet on this Saturday. It's just beginning.
It's very early. Me too. I got a crazy long Saturday. So, but man, okay. Well, we got you on. I'm going to give you guys a brief idea of what we might want to talk about today. So much going on. AEW Dynasty tomorrow night on pay-per-view, but tonight TNA's got a pay-per-view. So, and also, obviously you got free on cable on TNT. You can watch Collision. A lot of wrestling going on this weekend. Why not to kick off the week that WrestleMania is in? But I want to talk a little bit about something Pat McAfee said last night on SmackDown that it's like, I think it's a little too late, but we'll talk about that. WWE was in San Jose last night. You remember when AEW was there not too long ago? Yeah, same kind of crowd. So Silva says no to TNA versus AEW wrestling matches. We'll talk a little bit about that. TNA's in Syracuse this week, coming up the 14th and 15th. Jericho busts out an old gimmick. I could see it the second he walked in the ring, what he was going to do, and you probably did too. We will talk about that a little bit. But first, I want to say hello and good morning to my co-hosts, Rob Sanderson and DC Dan Cole. Guys, there's like an overdosing of pro wrestling starting this weekend all the way through next weekend.
Wrestling next weekend?
Yeah, I think there's something like that. If you get tickets in time and your flight and your hotel and all that stuff set up to it.
Yeah, boy, the discount on tickets is really going to help move people to go in the last week.
Yeah, I think I want to talk about that first when we get into it. I want to talk about, so
I'm all for talking about WWE being in absolute shambles right now.
Yeah, that last night if you were watching SmackDown, I did. I watched it twice because I wanted to make sure I heard the verbiage correctly. So last night on SmackDown, Pat McAfee, halfway into the show, or almost an hour into the show, comes out and cuts a promo and says, because he drove a truck in. Was it a Ford truck? I can't remember. But it was like he said.
Was the Dodge Ram?
It was Dodge. That's
a Dodge Ram?
You're right. It was a Dodge Ram. Because he said that the Dodge dealers are going to give 25% off anybody who buys a ticket for Saturday night's WrestleMania. one being the case, one, it's also the lower selling of the two nights. If you look at the map of the arena they're in, and two, and then he kind of like put down the Sunday night one, saying there's nothing worth watching on it. Obviously, the match he'll be involved in will happen Saturday night, which would be Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Somehow they're going to be working Jelly Roll into it as well, and Pat McAfee. So that all, it's funny is there's been years I've complained that they haven't had enough stars outside of wrestling involved in WrestleMania, and this year it seems like there's too many. I mean, there's two right there in one match. We got little Yachty out there with a gingerbread man shirt on, being involved as well. And who knows who else. I mean, it's a good philosophy. I mean, Vince McMahon used to feel that he could get people from, who aren't fans of wrestling, but fans of super, celebrities. He could get them to watch just to see what they were going to do. And so that's, I think, what they're trying to do heavy duty now, to sell some tickets. But last night, Pat McAfee said that if you buy between now and, I don't know what he said, but he just said the end of by Raw that all the seats will be 25% off of WrestleMania Saturday night. So, and like I said, I went and looked at the, as curious to buy the ticket or whatever to look at the arena. And Saturday is obviously the least selling of the two nights. Still, but this is a week away from the event. This is, do you think, a little too little, a little too late? Were they expecting, I don't know, because it's not like you can on a whim buy a ticket, book a plane, book a hotel room. And we're talking thousands of dollars just to come for one night.
Yeah, I was having this discussion with somebody last night. It's like, okay, you're offering 25% off now with a week to go. Anybody that needs to drive long distances, fly in, get a hotel, they're not going to jump on that. So your only option is to hopefully get some locals. But if you're local and you knew WrestleMania was going to be there, odds are you probably already have your ticket.
Yeah.
So really, it just reeks of desperation, and it's kind of sad, but I'm kind of also enjoying it.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I guess we'll see the results a week from tonight of how well it does. But
imagine people ripping into like Tony Khan if like he came out and like started doing a bit where, oh, we're going to talk about discounted ticket sales a week before a big event. People would be roasting him.
Oh, up in arms. Totally. Yeah.
So it's only fair that WWE, TKO, Endeavor, they get the same.
Yeah. So there's and we talked about this last week, but Pat McAfee, as agent, is the guy who oversees WWE and TKO, Ari Emanuel. That's his agent. That's, I think, who Cody Rhodes kind of came out and counterpointed with McAfee after McAfee came out and just badmouthed him and everything. And he said, you can take, he said, we'll give you a replica belt and you can take it back to Daddy. And I believe Daddy he's talking about is his agent, who's also oversees TKO. So, which there are a lot of people, I guess there's a lot of people, they wanted Pat for a very long time. He kept refusing to do this and finally gave in. But they had no other plans for him besides what he's doing now. So this was something definitely planned. But apparently, with Emanuel instigating it, it's kind of like not what the original plan was through Triple H Creative. So it did cause some rumbling. But there's people saying there's still somebody above Pat that is making Pat come in and do this besides being an assistant to Randy Orton. I heard a lot of rumors. There's been some people say they see his handprints over a lot of things, what they're seeing, and that's Vince McMahon. Could Vince McMahon be the avenue for Pat McAfee? Because, they had such a tight relationship. Vince actually went on his show before he was, kicked out of WWE or forced to resign or whatnot. But we've heard a lot of rumors about Vince trying to get back in and, one or two things, buying the company or being hired in to help with creative, which it would not be a bad idea. The guy's been doing it his whole life. And I'm thinking he would have much better success in building this up than what's going on right now. Just because, last minuting everything, like including a 25% discount on tickets a week before the show. I'm thinking Los Angeles is not that far from Vegas. Maybe they're just trying to get people to drive across the desert and come, I'm dumbfounded by, just it, and maybe it just feels like it seems like it's coming too fast. I mean, they had another pay-per-view it was just a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it does reek of desperation, and we'll see where it goes. But I think there's bigger stories being written around it too. So, but I was very surprised at that last night, and we know that they've been doing these discounts, not buy one, get one free. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that eventually about a couple days before the show, but, doing these discounts, for different days, and, still the tickets are ridiculous. You're talking $200 for a seat you cannot see. In fact, a friend of mine from work, he showed me where he sat last year, and it was $200 a seat, and he could not see. The ring was like microscopic. He had to watch on the screens behind him. And it's like same thing when we went to MetLife Stadium. It was like it was just ridiculous amount of money for something. It's great to say you were there. It's like, yes, I went to one there. I went to one. I got that out of the bucket list or whatever. Should have went to 18, but I couldn't. Had tickets, did not go though. But I should have, because it was so closer. It was driving distance. But I know that there's a lot of people that's a good thing, but remember, they also say this is like, Las Vegas is an international hub. They're expecting a lot of people from outside the country to be coming in for this and stuff. Second year in a row. I think that's the problem, is they're just doing the same place second year in a row. And, they kind of screwed over New Orleans in the process. And I'm sure nobody's coming from there, after they were, a week after WrestleMania, or a week before, they announced it would be in New Orleans this year. And then they changed their mind on that. So, but man, it reeks desperation. We'll see what they do this week. I mean, they can't do much more to build the show up. I mean, I like the matchups. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Punk, nor do I like Reigns. And so, I like a match in where I hope they both kill each other, or something happens, or someone else is involved in it. I like, the pseudo shoot of Punk on Monday night, once again, bringing up ticket prices. And Saudi Arabia came out of Pat McAfee's mouth last night. It was like, wait a second. They're your friends. He didn't say anything bad about them, but Saudi Arabia came out of his mouth. And that's where WrestleMania is next year. So I think they're worried about that.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think they're worried about that because of the situation right now. What's going on in the world, in that area. And, hopefully it can be resolved, but there's been a lot of, it's a powder keg ready to blow up big time. It's a very dangerous area when people are just shooting things in every direction because they can't hit the United States, and that's kind of slowly been supposed to have been calmed down, except for that, we obviously broke that, or we couldn't speak for Israel and they weren't stopping. So, but
as much as we want to say about Saudi Arabia, and there's plenty to say, because the way our dumbass president is handling things, hopefully WrestleMania next year won't be just as bad here in the US at that time. But we'll have to wait and see.
Maybe it'll be in New Orleans.
Well, I heard that is one of the backup locations, that or LA.
They said we owe you one. That's what they said when they crossed it off the list.
Oh, if WWE was desperate and like just needed a place to go, they're like, "Hey, New Orleans, I love it. New Orleans." This is like, nah.
Yeah. So it's the world is a quagmire, and
no giggities though.
Giggity. I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I will say to, like, for the Vegas second year in a row thing, I think is lazy and dumb. I will say I have a bunch of friends who, like, every single time they go on vacation, they go to Las Vegas. It's the only place they ever go. Me, obviously, I've done a lot of traveling in my life, and I've spent a grand total of like 1, 2 nights, 3 nights in Vegas in my life. Like it's not my top of the list thing, whatever, but like there are people that would just probably go there every year. Mania was there every year. I think it's lazy. But I mean, for me, it doesn't matter where it is this year. The card itself is of no interest to me. And that's just a shame because they do have a lot of talented wrestlers under contract, some of which are on the card, but those aren't matches that I care about.
I think I was gonna say I think they have one solid night of matches, and they're doing it on two, and so there's a lot of matches. You're right, and I don't the buildup hasn't really caught my attention, and like I said, there's only a couple of them that I'm excited about, or I'm interested to see where they go because obviously, the show must go on after it's over. So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough. This would be one where it'd be good to have a one-nighter. Go back, put everybody in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale on SmackDown next Friday. For everybody else who can't get in. But
it is kind of crazy that they do 2 nights of WrestleMania, and yet if you look at the list of who's booked, there's still so many of their top people that don't have a match as of right now. Which if you're doing 2 nights, you'd think you'd be able to figure that out a little bit better. But I don't know. I saw a bunch of people listed that some people think will end up getting a match or whatever, but like everybody said, like Io Sky had the best Mania match the last 2 years in a row and doesn't have a match right now, apparently.
Yeah, really. It took on Jade Cargill last night, and I think that might be the last one before Mania. So lost to Jade Cargill too, which one surprises the crap out of me because I mean, it was a clean loss, obviously Io is a great company person, but the week before WrestleMania, can't you just like do a screw job or something on her? Because I don't know, I just do something, not just
got to make Jade look strong.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, that's exactly it. And it's like, yeah, and that's another thing. It's like they're people are expecting so much out of like Jade, and it's like, man, you're not going to get that when you see the match, which is unfortunate. I mean, last night we had Cardona take on Trick Williams. I mean, that's a pretty high caliber match too. I thought that would have been a lot of fun on the Mania, but we're getting the slowly turning Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams with Little Yachty, who I don't really know. I'd be honest with you. I'm an old white man, and it's like, and Little Yachty's not on my iPod, or anywhere, it's like
on your iPod?
I feel like that could be the new name for the pain clinic. old white man.
Old white man. Yeah, no.
I think what you said on your iPod, that alone, you didn't need to clarify further. On your Panasonic portable no-skip CD player.
On my Commodore 64. I have.
I mean, he could have been really hip and said his Microsoft Zune.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
I really want.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded the Little Yachty track off of Kazaa Overnight or LimeWire.
Yeah.
Rockstar.
I don't. Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't know. So, but I get. Listen, it's interesting because Lil Yachty's going to obviously be involved because he did get beat up by Matt Cardona last night. So, or was it Sami Zayn? I'm trying to remember. One of them got him in a corner, but yeah, there's like I don't know if you heard the beginning of the show, Rob, but I was talking about how I think they're overdosing on celebs, trying to get people to watch the show. And he was one of the celebs that, and will be physically involved as well as Jelly Roll, which Jelly Roll got beat up by Randy Orton last night.
Well, I mean, I agree on the celebrity part. Like, I think the difference is that the celebrities back in the day were like a one-time attraction that made it interesting. At this point, if you're a mega fan of Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, these people, like, you've already seen them do stuff. And do you care to watch them over and over and over again do their wrestling thing if you're not a wrestling fan? If they do a one-time thing, like, it could draw your interest that one time, but I don't think that like these celebrities are bringing in like permanent fans that are sticking around too much.
Yeah, I mean, Jelly Roll is probably one of the biggest musicians on the planet right now. Not as big as he was before he lost all that weight, but I mean, popularity wise, sorry, I'm trying to be funny. But he, and he obviously wants to wrestle if he's been on the show the last 2 weeks and he's following them around. It's like, because he did something, and he wanted to, I know when he first wrestled, he wanted to redeem that getting picked up by the Miz in the ring and R-Truth when he couldn't get up after that one appearance. I think it was at SummerSlam, but it's interesting because he actually confronted Pat McAfee before McAfee went to the ring and cut his promo. And it's like, he went up to Pat McAfee. He goes, "Did you tell Randy Orton to RKO me?" And then they started getting a pushing match and stuff. And I just don't know how believable that is. I don't, especially with, Pat, I love how Cody treated Pat last night, because Pat came out, gave everybody 25% discount on Saturday night. And then Cody came out and said, "We're going to give you a commemorative belt and go home," and then the whole crowd started chanting "go home" to him, everything. And then Randy Orton had the beaten up Jelly Roll, dragged him out to the ring, and then they beat each other up a little bit more. And I don't know. It's, it reeks of desperation. That's how we started it,
Well, I mean, I give these, like, obviously Logan Paul and Jelly Roll, these people are like putting time in with training and stuff. So I give them credit for that. But at the same time, like, other celebrities, like, okay, say, Shaq's coming in to wrestle a match at AEW, or whoever it is or was, like, the one time is intriguing to me. After that, I don't need to see it again.
Oh, you're right. You're right. And unless it's Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop Dogg, but he's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but you don't need to see his little move off the ropes more than once. I don't need to see another Snoop Dogg match.
Little falling into people. Yeah.
I'd rather he just did a live performance at a show.
There you go.
That's fine.
I'll take that. I'm old enough, even though I'm old, I do know Snoop, so it's like, but I don't know Little Yachty. So, but yeah, I think that, I think
he's the son of Big Yachty, right?
Is he? Apparently,
yeah,
I thought they said Yahtzee when they first heard it, and I screamed it, but no, no, it's interesting is, he apparently, this is, not quite the Travis Scott situation, because this guy actually wants to wrestle. He looked like he had done some work. He kind of talked Trick into wrestling on, he challenged Matt Cardona for Trick last night. And Trick's like, "Wait a second. I didn't say it was okay." So it does have like a little bit of cracks in Trick's people, but I don't know. It's like, I just think that, I think, doing 2 years in the same place, not having a great card, it's a lesson they're going to learn about doing 2 nights. If they could switch it back to one, maybe they would have a lot of success. But they also got Hall of Fame going on. They've got to do Raw. They've got to do SmackDown. They've got to do, and then there's every other independent on the world, which I wanted to get into really next as we come out of this topic and talk a little bit. Kind of transitioning a little bit, but the world of wrestling will revolve around Vegas starting in probably hours after the Sunday night pay-per-view ends, because everyone has booked their flights. They're on their way there. But something big kind of happened this past week because of all these different shows that are going on. And how AEW and TNA guys can book outside their companies. So they've been building up MJF and Nick Nemeth have been building up this big match that's going to take place in Vegas between them two on an independent show. And Carlos Silva came out this week and said, that's not happening. And it's funny is because someone pointed out that Carlos Silva pays a lot of people based on the day of taping or the show. They don't have contracts. They get paid to show up and wrestle on a show. Not everybody. I'm sure there's the upper echelon of TNA all have like solid contracts, but they were allowed to, you can go out and make money, because obviously they can't pay what a WWE pays or an AEW pays, because they're a much smaller promotion. And that's why like the lower tier card people do get paid per appearance. So he went and nixed a match between something that had been building up, for not only online, but also on Busted Open. They were building this match up, and he negated it. And then that opened the flood doors for MJF and a bunch of other people to start taking shots at Carlos Silva. Rob, you know this situation, I'm sure, right?
All too well.
For the LOL TNA segment.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think of that whole and you know what? MJF came out and said after all this thing started, he said that Carlos Silva was pissed because Collision went head to head with Impact because of the NCAA tournament, and MJF said we can't do anything about that, but it's like that's what made him mad and will not allow his people to wrestle AEW people, or at least that's what MJF said. So, but Rob, what do you think?
Where do I begin? I mean, yeah, it's the preemption thing, like get over it. It's 1 week and it overlapped by like a little over an hour or something. If you have a fan base that cares about your product, they're going to watch your product regardless. So, um, for all of the times that WWE has chosen to run shows against an AEW show or pay-per-view or whatever, like, oh, one time an overlap between Collision on a Thursday and TNA. Like, give me a break. Um, you got to have more faith in your product than that. Also, if you're on AMC and you're clearly closely affiliated with WWE, you should be able to pay your people more than you do. The business practices of somebody under your deal, assuming they're booked for a set of tapings in a town, and then a day before they're supposed to fly out are told, yeah, we don't need you, which means they're not getting paid and they were expected to, and they did not book those dates with other companies, indies, because they were planning on the TNA thing, which has to take priority per their deal. You're screwing these people over, and it's way too common of a practice. Um, this is a topic that trying to keep my thoughts short and somewhat short and sweet, but could literally do a series of shows just talking about all of this stuff. In my opinion, if you're not WWE or AEW, um, TNA is in my mind like the next on the list, but they have so many people that are on these per appearance deals that I don't put them in the same category as the top two. But if you are a TNA, an NWA, an MLW, uh, any company on those levels, um, you there should not be contracts with companies unless you're being compensated like a full-time employee. I'm not saying everybody needs $1 million, but to have to sign contracts that prevent you from other work when you don't have any kind of a guarantee of getting that money or whatever, or you're being canceled on the day of or the day before, it's a joke. And some of this stuff is not even a financial thing as well, in terms of pulling bookings and stuff. There's a gigantic difference between letting somebody well, let me take that. There's a gigantic difference between telling somebody you can't take that booking and telling them you can take that booking and then later changing your mind
Yeah.
after the company has advertised it, sold tickets,
Yeah.
all that stuff, to then pull people when nothing has changed is absolutely ridiculous. And obviously the MJF Nick Nemeth thing is the big thing people are talking about. But
Leon
in my mind, it
Slater and
also,
Ricochet. Leon Slater and Ricochet too. Same thing
yes.
happened. Yeah, yeah.
And even what came out, which a lot of us didn't know about, is the report that last month there was supposed to be a match at GCW between MJF and Bear Bronson. And that got pulled, presumably because Carlos didn't want his guy, Bear Bronson, losing to MJF, who is a world champion in a top two company. And the fact of the matter is, they came up together from the Creative Pro school. They're really good friends, and it's not going to hurt Bear Bronson to lose that match, especially when MJF wins most of his matches in dirty fashion.
Yeah.
So to me, the Carlos is clueless, and he shows it every time he wears the stupid baseball hat with his suit.
Yeah.
I the sentiment around TNA this week is as low as it has been in a very long time. And I can say, like, from everybody I'm in touch with or like see posting on like Facebook and stuff that I'm friends with that works in indies and things like that, like nobody has had a good word to say about TNA. Nobody's defending Carlos. Even people under his TNA contract are calling him out on it,
Yeah.
and it looks terrible. It's
So,
past the LOL TNA thing in my mind right now.
in the interesting thing is, a lot of people feel there's WWE influence in what's going on here.
There
Uh,
absolutely is.
yeah. So because of their
No
deal,
question about it, no doubt in my mind.
yeah, yeah, because of their deal, which they still do. But yeah, they're yeah, it's crazy, and
And you can't completely blame TNA for like having a partnership with WWE. You can obviously, from a business perspective, you can see how that benefits them, but WWE has been completely using TNA this whole time. That like
yeah,
WWE is making out like bandits from this whole affiliation and like getting people work and stuff, and like they're it's not. I don't think it's bringing more people to watching TNA at this point. Then the problem is like all this stuff is going down, and like maybe I'm not like out there talking to the regular casual TNA fans and stuff, but I don't see anybody talking about the pay-per-view tonight or the two shows in Syracuse in a few days.
yeah.
I don't see a single person talking about that stuff, which is like that's a problem. If you have that many people on your roster, big stars, big TV deal, all that stuff, and you can't pull any attention away from everything else in wrestling right now, like, and this is like basically what's leading off the busiest week of the year in wrestling, like they really need to evaluate things. And I to me there's already enough proof that Carlos is not the guy to lead them to the next level. If anything, he's upsetting his own workers and making a lot of the rest of the business think that he's a joke. And it's TNA's reputation is taking a big hit yet again.
Yeah, and it's and that's the thing is like you said, everything was approved for these guys
Yeah.
to wrestle, and then because of he's mad that they ran a collision at the same time his show was on, and it wasn't the same time. It was 8 o'clock collision. It went and they were done by 10, and obviously TNA is on 9 to 11. I mean,
Mhm.
but it still crossed over. But yeah, that was made him mad. So he's like, okay, my guys can't wrestle your guys or something like that. And it's like, I remember when we were really tight with them there, it was a while ago. There was a bunch of people that we were good friends with, but we knew that TNA was booking all their talent through them. That's how you had to get people who were on TNA in their company, is you had to book it through their office. That's when Bob Ryder was around, and it's like they never had issues like that, I think, but they also never got to the point where they were, we didn't have this many companies, obviously back then either, but it was still something that, the issues like this weren't happening then, and now it's like if it's a WWE influence, then it's funny is Rennie's like, who is Carlos's daddy? Well, I think his daddy is TKO right now, obviously, but
Oh yeah, it's Paul Levesque.
yeah,
Yeah, and Lee Fitting and Michael Hickenbottom and them. Yeah, so. In fairness, I will say, like, there's been a lot said about the history of TNA this week and stuff. It would be relevant to bring up that this is a company that chose to try to start a Monday Night War of their own. They chose to try to invade somebody else's time slot and stuff, and it didn't work. But there's a lot of TNA's past that's being mentioned that, in fairness, nobody in TNA right now had anything to do with.
yeah,
I mean, we're talking different owners, we're talking different management. Carlos Silva wasn't the one responsible for 2004 to 2009 decisions in TNA that, like, Austin Aries is coming out and telling a story which it's he told a whole story basically about how he was booked for a Ring of Honor show the day before a TNA pay-per-view. TNA apparently called the Ring of Honor and said Aries isn't coming. We need him, because they wanted him to travel in for the pay-per-view the night before because of a snowstorm or something in the Northeast. And so they did all of this contacting Ring of Honor without actually talking to Aries
Oh,
at
really?
all. Aries found out about it later and was like, no, I'm honoring my booking. Um, and he went and worked to the Ring of Honor show, drove like 10 hours through a snowstorm to an airport, got to TNA hours before the show. Everything was fine. Um, I I rarely ever in 20 plus years have agreed with Austin Aries about anything, to be honest. And I will say, like, he's not been my favorite person to deal with, on the indies and other things.
Yeah.
But I give him credit for calling out this kind of stuff where these companies think that they own you, but they don't compensate you to enough to be able to have that kind of control.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in that situation, like Carlos Silva is not responsible for the decisions of TNA back in the 2000s.
We, we,
So like,
you mentioned the Monday Night Wars. That wouldn't even happen if Hogan wasn't there. I mean, that was definitely a Hogan Bischoff thing.
yeah,
Probably one of the biggest mistakes they made in their history.
it's just, like the company's gone through so many different eras that like the company itself will get all of its history brought up in times like this. Again, it's that stuff's not Carlos' fault, but this is the time for Carlos to make his own legacy of making
Yeah.
decisions that would bring more fans in as opposed to pushing them away. um have your stars go work these, like, the thing is, these there are a lot of people, and I'm sure there are people listening right now that don't pay any attention whatsoever to independent wrestling, and that's fine. It's not for everybody, or some people don't like wrestling enough to commit that much time to watching it and stuff.
So,
But if you want to bring in, like, indie wrestling right now, in a lot of ways, and especially even more so a couple years ago, are drawing some gigantic houses. Everybody's live streaming, and it's a lot more relevant in my mind than it used to be for those things. I mean, you're getting, like, some of these indie shows this week are going to have thousands and thousands of people watching in person, and tons more watching live streams
yeah.
on, like the GCW deal with
ECW, Gorilla, a lot of those places were super indies. They could make money and they could stream the product and they could fill the seats. And that, not. I remember back in the days when we had like 40 people at a show. So
Well, yeah. I mean, you look back to the days of like NMW and stuff, and like, if you don't go to the show, like, you're probably not seeing it or hearing about it. You're not seeing footage online or whatever. Like, there are indie wrestling companies now that are making like, they have 6-digit like contracts with live streaming and stuff,
yeah,
like 6 figures. Like that's it. It's a big deal. And yet, if you want to push away everybody in that industry and everybody in those crowds by pulling Bear Bronson from a GCW show in Atlantic City, a place where that's a company he works for almost every weekend.
yeah,
He works so many more dates for that one indie than he does for TNA. But like, oh, he can't wrestle his friend on this show because we need to look good. Give me a break.
yeah. It's someone
Give me
got
a
in his
break.
ear. Yeah, yeah,
Like, if you want to put the TNA World Champion on a show and like have an eight like have an AEW guy lose to him, same thing. Who cares? Like, fine. It's wrestling.
yeah.
It's fake. People decide who wins and who loses. Like, you walk away from a show, you don't care who like won and lost in terms of like thinking it's a legitimate sport. Like, I just the business side of this, like, you have the attention of getting your first show on AMC, total flop, and now here we are where you're pissing off people and you're taking food off of their plates and stuff by removing their bookings that they've already planned on, they've already agreed to. Companies
Yeah.
have already sold tickets. All these fans are like, well, wait a minute, like I planned on driving all this way to see this match,
Yeah.
and now I'm stuck with this ticket. Like there are people don't understand, but there are so many fans these days now that travel to the WrestleMania location and don't go to WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
They go to the conventions, the signings, the indie shows, all of that stuff. Like it's just it's so tone deaf to me what TNA is doing. And when you've got a big like tentpole pay-per-view tonight that nobody's talking about, maybe your focus should be more on that kind of stuff.
True. And then there's nothing significant. I mean, they just had a Friday pay-per-view, what, like a week or two ago? It
I don't
wasn't
even know.
it wasn't that long ago that they had this big Friday.
Probably.
Yeah. So they it's interesting is yeah, yeah, more in that it's like the circuses in town, and so people like last year in Vegas. I remember they had, I remember more like when they were in Philly, they had like shows everywhere, from Philly to New York City around WrestleMania week. Thing is, too, is like, Rennie's like, he's on here, he message, he goes, you don't hear a lot about indie wrestling around where he's around DC. But the thing is a lot of these indies, like you said, stream. And so there's a lot of fans who watch these things online. You don't even have to go to these indies, and they're available and
Right.
people watch them, and it's like that's something that's new in just the last few years of everybody streaming all their. I mean, I've always felt streaming is a great thing for the business. You can make some extra money, if you can find some way to monetize it, and it seemed like they found a way to monetize it, and you also can build up the fan base. So, and
It has changed so many people's careers and lives and stuff that it is a totally different world that it used to be. But the problem is there are a lot of people either with major wrestling companies or fans or something that like don't see that or don't realize that. Maybe not through any fault of their own. Carlos Silver should be aware of all these kind of things that are happening. But I mean, you it's like they're trying to piss people off. Um, it this has been a bad week for a lot of stuff in wrestling, to be honest. Between all of this stuff with TNA and then also the whole thing with the Berwyn Eagles Club in Chicago, which
yes. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even put that on there. I just read that this morning when I was doing stuff. It was
yeah,
about how they that they we had seen that there was the quote unquote the first report came out there was a stabbing, and that obviously wasn't the case. But they felt that saying it was a stabbing gave them legitimacy to beat the guy who went into the ring and attacked somebody up, and in that place they put
well,
out
it was at a merch table, I guess, to
yeah.
clarify. So this was a um to try to like there's a lot of different reports and stuff out there and a lot that's been clarified this week that none of us heard about originally and stuff, but there was basically a an indie fed that is pretty new that nobody's heard of that does some death matches that ran the Berwyn Eagles Club, which is, I mean, that's the south side of Chicago. It is arguably, in my mind, like the most famous independent wrestling venue there is. I mean, that's something that I for years and years I watched, tapes of shows from that building and then like started going there, lived in Chicago, was there like any chance I had for like if we'd have a rare day off on a weekend, I was going to Berwyn and going to that place, to see shows. And now uh, they have one wrestling show left, which will be AAW in 2 weeks. After 22 years of running shows there, it's no longer going to have wrestling because the venue lost their licenses from the town because there was from what people are saying at this point, a fake stabbing, a stabbing that didn't happen at a show of a wrestler, which other wrestlers used as justification to beat a fan up legitimately. The video's all over online, and of course, like the cops were called and the cops saw the video, and at that point the town was like, yeah, you're not doing wrestling anymore because these dumbasses running this indie wrestling company decided that this was a smart idea to do. And there's a lot that still needs to be clarified on all of that, but it's a bad look for indie wrestling by this company that, again, most people in indie wrestling haven't even heard of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just all that stuff going on this week is just crazy. And for me, like, I mean, you can see on Twitter, like everybody from WWE stars who came up through Shimmer, which ran that venue. I mean, that was the thing. Like Shimmer weekends would be 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday. You would be at that venue all weekend long. I mean, like you really get to know the woman in the concession stand and those terrible hot dogs. Because I mean, but those were awesome weekends, and like the fact that this is basically everybody's losing this stuff. Like, there's a lot of big stars in wrestling that are coming out and saying like how much this sucks that we're all losing this venue. And because more dumbasses are making in managements are making decisions in wrestling and stuff, and just not a good week.
Yeah, well, I will say,
that,
yeah, I just wanted
yeah,
to mention the first time I heard anything about this was a fan stabbed a wrestler, and that's the very first word that I saw came out about this. And when
right.
when the video, and all I saw was the video was some guys pouncing on a guy outside the ring. You know, he was like he wasn't even near the ring. He was like probably like you said, the merch table area or whatever. It was so that's
Yeah,
all.
it ended up like back by the stairs, which is the entrance exit
Yeah,
area, and they were basically like, it seemed like they were kind of like pushing him toward the doors to like get him out of there, like
yeah,
kicking him out, but at the same time like beating him up. And I like specifically, if you watch the video, I have no problem saying like
yeah,
the one quote unquote wrestler who's throwing all these punches is Schlack, who has a very terrible history. If you look him up, then you've got other wrestlers like Mickey Knuckles cheering him on and stuff. People that not all these people are booked by everybody. Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
Um, and now they're taking money out of their fellow wrestlers' pockets, and promoters who are booking these people that now can't book these shows anymore. GCW had a show booked there for June 20th. And now that's been moved to Indianapolis because the venue's gone, because the venue canceled every show except for that one final show that like they were able to get the clearance to hold, and that's it. That's the end of it. Um, but yeah, it's we're about to start the busiest week of wrestling of the year.
Yeah.
Going into it, there's all this crap going on that's just not good.
Yeah, that you know that yeah, there's and we got like I said 2 pay-per-views this weekend. You know, for one for each
Yeah.
company. One, you know, it is hopefully, you know, yeah, that's a shame because I remember reading hearing that initial report and then it kind of changed the next time I heard it. So it was like there no, what no,
Oh,
actually
it was a total change.
yeah, nobody really was stabbed. No, no, this and
Right.
nobody ran into the ring to attack somebody, which was what the original account was. Because I remember when the video came out, they go, "Oh, we don't have the video of him going into the ring." It's like, yeah, because that I don't think ever happened, right? It was
It
like,
didn't happen. Yeah, it
yeah,
didn't
'cause-
happen. It
yeah,
was the wrestler was at their merch table and got attacked, and that's all being like there's uh I've had a lot of messages this week with people about this, and there's some clarification that some of us are looking for, specifically from the wrestler who they were claiming got stabbed, and if this wrestler was even in on that or not, or that was just like people were saying like, oh, he tried to stab you, and guys like what? Um, and not a part of it. There's just it's the whole thing is stupid, and all of it like it shouldn't be a thing in the first place. Like we shouldn't have outlaw deathmatch wrestling companies running historic venues where people believe that a wrestler got stabbed by a fan because of some conflicts between like Facebook message boards and crap like that. Like, what are we doing? Again, it's entertainment or whatever. Like, and you're not part of the show. To me, this is like when you see, I'm sorry, but like when you see clips constantly of like meatheads in the crowd getting in fights at UFC events. Like, people didn't buy their ticket to see you in the crowd. Like, sit down and shut up and
You know,
enjoy the show.
it probably all started with that Rod Jackson thing that happened, that because that was bad taste for the biz as well, yeah, that sucks. So, hopefully, man, hopefully this week goes without too many things going wrong. But I did want to bring that up. I didn't put it in the news, but it's like I figured after, it was a he said, she said thing, but then it, turned out to be more like, nah. Some people said the promoter kind of changed what happened just so that it justified what we were seeing in the video. And if someone was going to stab someone, I could understand that. If that's not the case, then it's a lot of people are on the hook for this one. That's for sure. Hopefully,
I hope that more information gets revealed in all of it. Again, because a lot of us that are very close with a lot of things happening in the business and people working in different areas and stuff, like hear all these things, and a lot of us are just kind of like still wondering like what the deal is on a lot of this stuff. But um, it's it's just not been a good week in wrestling, and all this kind of stuff, all this behind the scenes, non-show kind of stuff going on, which is like what are we doing?
yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. So hopefully, yeah, it's a bummer all these bad things have happened.
Yeah, it's also like maybe if you have problematic people that are booted from a lot of companies and people refuse to book them, like maybe they shouldn't be booked by other people and then cause incidents like this. But
Yeah. Yeah, learn from the other past mistakes other people made. So yeah, well, hopefully we'll hear more
it's too
about
bad
that.
the owner of the venue didn't say like, oh, we have a great history of wrestling here. We're not taking your money for your show to rent the place for this day,
Yeah.
because they they allowed the company to run there, and this is what happened. And it's again, it's impacting a whole lot of companies, a whole lot of wrestlers, a whole lot of fans, and it just sucks. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been in that venue or whatever, and this kind of to me feels like when they demolished the Ukrainian club and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it sucks.
They demolished Ukrainian club and then waited a few years before they ever built anything on it, which
Hmm.
they were promising to build a Walmart or something. And then eventually they did, but it was like, but
It's
it
a
was,
Walmart parking lot now,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
it was years that they, it's like, why you got to tear it down? Wait till you're for sure. But yeah, that kind of, I remember that stunk because that was a cool place to go. And, there's, the, has a certain. I remember I had, I've never had a place like that. I kind of like the Italian American Club here in town. It has a good feel when there was show when you guys did shows there. So it was,
it always felt a little bit too nice for wrestling,
yeah,
but
true, yeah,
yeah, especially,
carpeted,
yeah.
and, yeah,
Luckily, there weren't any incidents like what we were just talking about there. But no, that was I loved running there too,
yeah.
for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna
But
jump
it's tough.
change.
I mean, that's a big deal in indie wrestling. Like it is tough to find venues. That is a really tough thing. So when you have a place established for over 2 decades that will run wrestling shows consistently, like that's a big benefit to the business. Like people don't understand that. Like obviously, there's been in Rochester, there's been a number of different places ran by different companies over the years, but it's not easy. It's not like there's a list of like, oh, here are all these other places that nobody's contacted, that nobody's already ran, that nobody has had them tell them no yet. Like it's tough to find places like this. So
Yeah,
for dumbasses to cost stuff like that for everybody else,
yeah,
hopefully people take notice of that and stop booking these idiots.
yeah. I remember Remember the German House? I kind of like that as a place to book too. And they stopped doing wrestling, I think. 2CW was there a couple times. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been at least a few companies that ran there. It was always a little tough there because you couldn't see the ring from a lot of the upstairs seats, and the parking situation wasn't great and stuff, but some good memories in that building as well.
I remember the
Um,
backstage was like a hallway, and the guys all had to get dressed in it, and it was like that's it. That's where they got dressed, right in the hallway behind the stage.
oh, there's some worse situations than that in wrestling, I'll tell you that much. But yeah.
Let's jump in.
uh,
Let's change topic a little, just a little bit.
yeah.
'Cause I have a few things on here. I want to talk about AEW Dynasty this weekend. This is
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah.
This is tomorrow night on pay-per-view. We've talked about it a bit the last couple weeks. Unfortunately, this past week, unfortunately, we had a few injuries for AEW, and with those injuries, we are now going to let's see, who else was in? Oh, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Ken, Mark Quinn, or whatever, however they say.
Mhm. Yeah.
Both of those guys, but Kyle Fletcher is a champion. He was a title holder, and now I guess on the show they're going to do a high stakes casino gauntlet match for the title. So they've got a way out, but I'm not really sure what happened to Kyle Fletcher. You guys hear anything about what the
It
injury
was a
was?
Meniscus.
suplex spot where his leg and knee kind of got underneath him, so all the weight came down, and his knee just was the victim there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a while.
But
Uh,
apparently, he's still going to wrestle in 2026. So
okay, so that's 8 months, depending on how bad it was, but that's a shame because he was had such a great run, and
Oh, I mean, you could argue he's like the fastest rising star in that company. I mean, really, that's a huge loss. That sucks for him. Hopefully, he can pick right up where he left off when he gets healthy. Because this seemed like it was going to be a really big year for him.
yeah, and he's done so, ever since breaking going singles, he's just been fantastic. So, and yeah, I think that's a and unfortunately it's happened a lot lately. People are getting hurt, which is kind of a bummer. But looking at the pay-per-view overall, I'll whip through a few of the matches that kind of jump out at me. I think that FTR versus Cage and Cope for the AEW World Tag I'm guessing that this may be the time that Cage and Cope get it, at least at that title, because but they've invested a lot of time on TV to making this happen, or to setting this match up. So I'm assuming that I don't know, but what do you guys think? Is it time, or is it this may be the last time they could ever, and then maybe they could put the next time they wrestle, they could do like a ladder match, because I'm feeling that they're trying to work towards that too. But what do you think, Rob?
Uh, I mean, I have really mixed feelings on all of it, but I assume that um I assume Cage and Cope are winning tomorrow night. And that they'll take the titles from FTR and then have a run with them that maybe they'll hold them to like All In. I think at some point it'll be a, whether acknowledged or not, it'll be a passing of the torch from them to the Bucks, as like the next in line after that kind of thing. But you know, it'll draw interest. The match itself with them and FTR, I wish I had more interest in than I do right now. I think it can be very good. Um, I have mixed feelings, with all the people under contract there to have them as tag champions, but you knew once both of them were under that roof, you knew at some point this was going to happen. So hopefully it's something that's booked well, but I don't know. I mean, there's a chance that they hold off and have FTR steal the win and then actually drop it at Double or Nothing or whatever. But I feel like Cage and Cope are taking the belts in Canada tomorrow.
What do you think? What do you think, DC?
I agree. I think it's, if they're going to do it, so let's do it now, and then let's set up the eventual people coming out of this taking the titles from him. I'm still holding on to my prediction of a triple threat ladder match.
I do like that when Christian Cage comes out that they have this big a-hole thing on their sign. So, which I mean, that's a word you can get away with, I guess, on TV nowadays. But
Did you see the picture they took backstage this week in
yeah,
Edmonton?
where he's looking pissed. Yeah, yeah,
Well, they take it. I mean, you've got who's it? Copeland and somebody, Benoit's kid
yeah.
there, and then Christian's just standing at the side, like
And
with a look on
Jericho,
his face. It's
he's
just like,
staying.
oh yeah, and
Yeah,
Jericho, yeah.
Jericho's there too, and he's like in that jacket he has on with all the colors and everything,
I
and
was just like, don't, Christian, just stay quiet, don't say anything.
he's just looking pissed.
We all know what he's thinking or what his character's thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely saw that. So got Mox and Osprey. This is Osprey. Obviously they've invested a lot of time in this as well on TV. Moxley being the Continental Champion. Osprey, I'm guessing soon will have that title after this weekend. But that DC,
I don't love this. Like, because to me, like, the story in AEW this year should be Osprey winning the world title, not the Continental title. And so if he wins it tomorrow, then he's either got to lose it at some point soon, which isn't necessarily great, or he's going to be another one of those situations where a champion is challenging for another belt, which I hate even more. That being said, I really hope they don't do something to have Moxley retain here. You gotta make Osprey look strong consistently at this point.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think, DC?
Yeah, I agree, and I'm also curious as to their whole plan with Moxley, because it seemed like for a while it was going to be a situation where the Death Riders turned on him, but then all of a sudden they were kind of treating him as like a semi-face, but now he's full-on heel again.
Yeah,
It makes no sense whatsoever.
yeah. They're trying to play the tweener, and it's just, I think he was getting over as a face, and I think he just pushed everybody away recently in the last few weeks because of the siding with the Death Riders or whatever they call them now. Yeah. So I agree. So we got this is interesting. We got Andrade versus Darby Allin, and if Darby wins, he'll get an AEW World Championship shot. I know, and Darby's talked about it in all his promos, so I think it's an inevitable thing that he will get it eventually. This may be the beginning of the path to it. I don't know. I mean, Andrade is a great wrestler, and I enjoy. I actually liked his run so far, and I hope they don't just start booking him to lose to everybody. Using him as a stepping stone to the next level, but. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen in this match, though. Unfortunately,
Andrade needs to win this match. I'm not buying into Darby at all. I see a feud happening very soon with Darby and MJF, but the world title will not be involved.
Yeah.
I want Andrade to win this match. I do not think Andrade is winning this match. I think it's everything they're mentioning about Darby and how he'd get a chance at whoever the champion is. I just can't see them not following up on that. And it makes me nervous that, I think it's inevitable that Darby's going to hold that belt. I just hope that when that happens, it's not a very long thing. And who knows? I mean, maybe it could be a situation where, like, it could even happen this year. It could be a situation where he's the one to dethrone MJF, and then either another heel takes it from Darby to then lose it to Osprey, or MJF takes it back and MJF's the one to lose it to Osprey. I don't know. But I think Darby's winning this, and I hope that's not the case, because there's been too many opportunities recently to bring Andrade to the next level, which he clearly can thrive at. He's shown, he has everything in the ring. He has the charisma, and he's got a manager that can help him in so many ways. There's no reason to have Darby win this, but Darby's going to win this.
Okay, we got next up on the list, Thekla versus Jamie Hayter. Thekla the champion.
Tekla, next.
Thekla just signed a longer-term contract than the original one she signed. Apparently, they're giving her a raise and whatnot. You know, I mean, I think she must have had like a 1-year deal or something, and it's like, but she just or she got signed to an extension. We'll say that. So she definitely got the management's like, yeah, you're good. We're gonna keep you. And I enjoy Thekla, but I like Jamie Hayter too. So unfortunately, I think Thekla does defend on this. What do you think, Rob?
I 100% see Thekla winning this. I think that Thekla has been awesome since coming in, deserved that raise that she earned, and I hate to see Jamie Hayter take losses ever, but right now, I mean, Hayter and Windsor should be focused on the women's tag titles. I don't like the choice of Hayter being the challenger here, because she's going to have to suffer a loss, and you could have had somebody else do that.
That's true. Yep. So we'll go on to the Casino Gauntlet match for the vacated AEW TNT Championship, and so far we only got like two competitors in this, and that's Ciampa and Rush, and that's it so far. To be, I guess, what Casino Gauntlet's when the one person gets tagged, then the new guy comes in, and then when one person gets tagged, then the next guy comes in. Is that how that works? I'm trying to remember.
This is first person to get a pinfall.
First for a pinfall.
Or first person to get a pinfall or submission.
Okay, so
yeah, so nobody gets eliminated per se. It's just the first, and that's why they do the matches you try to earn that number 1 or number 2 spot to make sure that you actually get to enter the match, even though that means then you have to be in there longer and fight more people and stuff. At least like you're not somebody who theoretically is like waiting backstage and never hears their music because the match is already over.
Yeah, I get that. So, well, I don't really have a prediction on that because I don't know. I mean, obviously,
I do.
Who do you think?
Brody King.
Brody King, who did not wrestle this past week. I think because they didn't say why, but Brody was there, but there was like an issue. We couldn't wrestle.
Was that this week or last? He was at the funeral for the guitarist from Harm's Way.
That's what it was. That's right. He missed it because it was the week before. Yeah. So
But I think he's been on a good run. I think now's the time, especially because they probably didn't have any plans in place with Fletcher being injured. So why not give him a chance?
You know what? You sold me on it. I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity. Clearly, Fletcher was going to have that belt for a while, and he was being built around that belt. And this is an opportunity to build somebody else up, and I hope they take advantage of that as opposed to just throwing it on somebody who doesn't need it or has already had it. Which is, I wouldn't be totally shocked if they just throw it on somebody from the Don Callis family, like a Mark Davis or something. But I kind of wish Andrade wasn't wrestling Darby and he could win this.
Yeah. Well, I remember Ciampa's first match, he won a title. So, you can't.
Yeah. And I don't want to see it go back to Ciampa. Like he's already had it. And I don't think he needs it at this point, but I more than anything, I hope with this match that we get a surprise return or debut. This is the type of match that's great to pull out those kind of surprises. So whether that's somebody making a debut, whether that's a return of like a Keith Lee or somebody, I don't know if Kyle O'Reilly's healthy yet. There's a lot of possibilities there, but I hope that whoever wins it is somebody who like we haven't even mentioned.
Yeah. So. Well, they do have versus all to be announced, so it could be any of that group there. We'll go quick over this: the Bucks versus Okada and Takeshita. And man, who wasn't into that Takeshita punch out that was going on Dynamite this past week. It's what people want, obviously, and this will probably lead to it as well. David, this is a slow burn on this matchup, but obviously, I'm thinking the Young Bucks will win this, and then we'll get the final breakdown between. And I mean, Don Callis did promise we were going to get an Okada Takeshita match. He didn't.
Double or nothing, right?
Is that what he said? Double or nothing. So these guys are going to fall out big time. They already did it once in the ring last week. So, what do you think about that, Rob? I mean, it seems obvious the Bucks go over on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if they flat out said double or nothing or not, but that's my assumption at least. And I mean, obviously that's one of the most anticipated matches in all of wrestling for, I'm sure, very many of us that watch wrestling. So it's a very easy match to book in that sense. With those two guys still feuding and not being on the same page, not being able to work together. The Bucks are kind of in need of a win right now, I feel like. But I just hope that, I mean, if I'm booking this show, I'm giving this match more time than any of the other matches. I want this to not be some quick little, Okada Takeshita fall apart and it's over. I want this match to take some time.
Yeah, maybe I can see it's the old the blind tags to pin somebody and then not pin them and then causing some heat between them, something like that. That's how it'll end. What do you think, DC?
This is one of those ones too that you really don't have to worry about any kind of story. This is one where you just want to enjoy the match. It's 4 great competitors in there. Like RT said, give them time, let them do their thing.
That's cool. So next up is Chris Jericho versus Ricochet, and the list returns. Which the fans popped huge time over it. I didn't know where Jericho was going once he came back. Was he going to be face heel? Obviously, when Ricochet came out, that was decided. So I don't know. I mean, I think Ricochet likes putting people over. He does it all the time, but we'll see what happens. I can't, I mean, I'll say that Ricochet wins, but then maybe he'll build something up for Jericho to do. Cause I was thinking if he comes in as a face, who's he going to feud with for a while? Or if he comes as a heel, who's he going to feud for? And I wouldn't mind a Ricochet Jericho feud for a little bit. Ricochet, it doesn't, isn't really in the, I don't know. I think that he unfortunately is better than he's being booked, but that's just me. So what do you think, Rob?
I'm going to go with what I hope happens, and that's Ricochet wins, and it starts a self-doubt angle for Jericho. And that's kind of his storyline, because it's got to be something different. And so far, it's not anything different for Jericho, but there's no reason for him to come back in and just beat everybody. And that certainly doesn't help Ricochet either. I mean, there's so many ways to excuse the loss with a year of ring rust and all sorts of stuff and Ricochet being the heel, I'm going to go with Ricochet.
DC, what'd you say again? Ricochet pass? Is that what it is?
That was more for Jericho than Ricochet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, please just let Ricochet get the win. I'm sorry, but there's no way Jericho can keep up with Ricochet at this point in his career. So
and more than anything
really
right now,
not
just waiting
looking forward
to see.
to this.
Yeah.
Once we get Jericho in front of a United States crowd, what the reactions are truly going to be like, because a lot of people didn't ask for this. And if you're trying to book him as a babyface, this could get interesting really quick.
We will see. Okay, so I did skipped over Alex Windsor versus Marina Shafir on the pre-show. That obviously,
I don't know why that match is happening. Just from an aspect of we just talked about Jamie Hayter's going to lose, and Marina Shafir, who did she just lose to recently? Shafir should not be taking losses right now. But are you going to have footballing birds lose? I don't know. I don't. To me, like neither one of them should lose that match. But uh, there's part of me that says Shafir wins because she has to. There's part of me that says that Alex Windsor would win because you don't want to make her tag team look bad twice in one night when I think they're clearly in line to maybe be the next women's tag champions.
Makes sense.
Maybe coming out of Wembley.
Oh yeah, Wembley. You know, you got to build up those native Britons. You know, who
It
knows?
would make sense, yeah. I mean, and there's no I mean, you could easily find plenty of things for Megan and Lena to do between now and then, and build that up. But that, I mean, you don't have to give Wembley every single feel good England wrestler moment in one night, but I'm fine with them doing that.
Yeah. Then we up next, last but not least, MJF versus Kenny Omega, and you know they're playing the Kenny Omega diverticulitis card, which you know I think there's some legitimacy to what they're talking about. You know, when you have like what do you say, 6 inches of intestine removed and stuff like that. I mean it, but Kenny Omega's back in wrestling, and I saw that he did an interview couple days ago saying he may have come back too early, but he's okay now. So it's like, you know, because I remember after he initially came back, he disappeared for a couple weeks, you know, and it was like, I'm thinking, but you know what? I can't do it. Do I see a title change? I don't. I hate to see Kenny lose though, because Kenny's really putting it on the line saying could be my last, will be my last chance, you know? So, I don't know. I have a hard time, but I think MJF defends the title. You know, what do you think, DC?
I think we're going to get a Kenny win, and he's going to get his last run as a world champion. I honestly see something happening with, like I said, with Darby and MJF. The title isn't going to be involved. I can almost see a double "I'm going to cost you your match" type thing playing out.
Interesting. What about you, Rob?
It's tricky. My instinct is MJF retains. That's not what I want to happen. I do. I would love to see Omega have a babyface run with that belt. And I think it's so easy to get people to want to see Omega and Osprey at All In and have that be who Osprey wins the belt from. But there also, in my mind, is the aspect of Osprey should probably take it from a heel. Um, I don't know. I didn't necessarily see MJF taking the belt back when he did. I don't know how long this reign is going to go. I think giving Kenny the win in Canada right now, as maybe even a transitional champion kind of situation, would be the best move. But especially with this whole Darby nonsense going on, to me it just makes more sense for Darby, if he has to challenge for the title, to challenge a heel rival in MJF. I just don't want that. So as much as it pains me to say, I think MJF retains.
All right. We've had some deep discussions.
That's
today.
all the matches?
That's
are they going to add 15 more tonight?
There's 9 total. So maybe Tony's listening finally, you know, with one on the pre-show. So that'd be 8.
No Costco guys in the pre-show?
I did not see any Costco names on there. So yeah, I'm surprised.
Are there Costco's in Canada? I think so.
You have Tim Hortons.
I'm not.
You know? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're
going to bring in no Costco boys, but they'll bring in the Canadian Tire hosers or something instead.
You know,
Costco operates over 100 warehouse locations in Canada.
Oh, so there's
wow.
Costco. Well, maybe he can't go. Maybe he can't go into Canada. You know,
and they have poutine in the food court, so I feel like I got to try that out sometime.
Wow. Far out. That's
Well,
definitely cool. So yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
it's
say,
never been a priority of mine in any of my Canadian visits to find a Costco, but that is intriguing.
all right. So like I said, we've had some deep discussions, and I'm just gonna go through some news, and we'll get out of here. And some of the news, I'll try not to repeat things that we saw already, but or I talked about already. But if you watched SmackDown last night, you saw the wrestling debuts of Royce Keys and Danhausen wrestled. Danhausen wrestled the first match in WWE.
Why would they waste that Danhausen? Like the Royce Keys thing makes sense because of the location.
Yeah,
Uh, but like, yeah, the Danhausen, like, I didn't even, obviously I wasn't watching SmackDown anyway, but like,
I get you.
there was nothing out there that's like, oh, Danhausen's wrestling tonight. Because then I might have been like, all right, I want to see this. And just hear about the after fact, like, oh yeah, Danhausen had a match. What? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you build that up or something like a little bit? Like, you don't have to make him seem like a wrestling savant. I don't know, but
Speaking of wrestling savants, before his match, he did a backstage bit with R-Truth. So it was and R-Truth did not call him Oscar this time, so he figured out who he is. But he did curse someone in the middle of the match, and Kit Wilson, and that's what caused Kit to lose when the pyros blew up in the corner when Kit was going in to do a top rope move onto Danhausen. So
it's
that's
they're doing some like I will give them credit. They're it seems like they're giving Danhausen a good amount of segments. They're doing things to really try to give him a little bit more of a plan and a little more organized or whatever and stuff. That it just to me like I don't love the whole like you are cursed thing is like so forced and robotic.
yeah.
But like that's never really been a Danhausen thing. I don't love that, but I mean at least he's getting it seems like plenty of segments and stuff, which is good.
Yeah, so well, he did that. That I didn't think we'd see him wrestle, and there he is. He wrestled. So, and yeah, Royce Keys was a pretty much
The
a
undefeated Danhausen.
undefeated Danhausen and the undefeated Royce Keys with the 2.5 minute match.
Who
Uh,
did he wrestle?
he wrestled. What is his name? I can't remember. One of the Mexican star tag team dudes.
I'm
Gars.
looking it up.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Berto? I don't
Yeah,
know who this is.
Birdo.
I
Yeah,
don't I
yeah,
I think I've heard that name before, but I honestly don't know who that
yeah,
is.
yeah. Well, I like them a lot as a tag team. They just are the tag team, the jobbers to the stars. That's the only time they show up is when they lose. So, uh, but I guess unless they did house shows, then I'm guessing they would win a lot of house shows because they're pretty good. But some other news: Lance Archer's contract is you want to keep your eye on it because it's coming up this summer. So we'll see if AEW resigns Lance to a longer bit. If you want,
Sure wish they would do something. Have him win the gauntlet tomorrow.
I was thinking
Give
about
him
that.
something.
Why not? He doesn't. I don't think Jake the Snake's with him anymore, though. Oh, that's right. He's with Callis and those guys. So, April 9th, Impact. If you were watching this past week, they did a backstage segment, the Undead Realm with Tessa Blanchard was in it as well as Father James Mitchell, Mara Shide, Rosemary, and lo and behold, Abyss shows up. TNA Hall of Famer Abyss shows up in the segment on this past week's Impact. I still watch it. I know I'm mad at the dude who's the owner and stuff, and he actually was on in the ring at the very end of the night again with that hat on and everything. But it was a neat little backstage segment going through
Is that a bootleg hat that the boss has?
I don't know.
Like at least wear a real hat. Ugh.
Well, it was cool seeing Abyss show up at the end, and Father James Mitchell. So they like to go back to that every once in a while. I don't know if you saw this past week, Ric Flair was really pissed off at the WWE because I don't know how they can do this, but he took to social media because WWE will no longer permit him to be part of the Roots of Fighting brand. It's a company for producing apparel centered around legendary athletes. I'm not really sure how they can do that when he has a contract with AEW, but unless he still has a Legends contract, I don't know. I'm not sure how. I mean,
Does he have it? I don't know if he's under an AEW contract right now.
okay, I know that Flair's name was mentioned in a promo last night, so he definitely his name is okay to say. So maybe he's done with AEW. He did thank AEW though. He went through and had this post on, and you can tell when he does it versus when one of his assistants does it, because when he does it, it's all capital letters, the whole post. When
You're saying he's running Donald Trump's social media too. Got it.
Yeah, that too. So but he not only he was just angry, and he was angry. He's like, he even in this post that he posted, you got to go back and find it. It's interesting. He goes, WWE is trying to take away everything from me, including the, being the 20-time world champion, which, now
it's 20.
It's, to be honest with you, it's probably more than that because of like the switcheroos that happened when they'd go to Japan and stuff, so. But he counts 20, and I always counted more than 17. That's for sure. But because he goes back in the territory day, they do switcheroos in towns, and never acknowledge it, though he would. So, but yeah, he had a little bit of a breakdown, and then he came to his senses the next day, and backtracked on pretty much everything he said. But what he said wasn't lying, about he thinks that they're trying to take away he thinks WWE is trying to take away everything that he's ever built up, in his career. And it's like by taking away the money he's making from Roots of Fight, which is the brand that he's no longer allowed to work with. And I'm not sure the legalities behind it.
Wait, but Roots of Fight, why would that doesn't even make sense, because there's people under WWE contract that do have.
Yeah, that's what he said too. Yeah. Maybe because he's not under a WWE contract at all, and that they're like, you have to get rid of all our guys if you have Ric Flair on there or something. I don't know.
So it's WWE trying to run more companies that they don't own. Got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He believe me, he had a meltdown from it. So WWE announced this past week that they're going to be doing the Clash in Italy on May 31st. So they're going to be going back to Europe. Tickets went on sale yesterday. Scary moment happened on Raw this past week. There was during the show, Liv Morgan was confronted by Stephanie Vaquer, obviously her opponent at WrestleMania, and she attacked her from behind, and Liv Morgan and Roxanne's head went together. And if you saw the picture I sent out this morning, Liv Morgan had a huge bump on her head after that, and she's in the protocol, the concussion protocol, because of it, which may affect WrestleMania. I'm not sure, pardon me. But if you guys search online, just type in Liv Morgan, not on head, as in KNOT, and you'll see this gross picture. But and the weird thing is, then behind her, everyone's kind of like, laughing. So it's like, hopefully she's okay. But I don't know. I feel bad for them. I mean, you could see it happen on TV. It was meant to be. They knew the attack from behind was coming. Just they didn't know their heads were going to go together. So. Both and Roxanne Perez is like our first time back from her injury as well. So it's like, it's perfect timing to hurt some other people. So, but we'll find out this week what's going on with that as well, because WrestleMania is next weekend. If you're going to watch AEW Collision tonight, you're going to get to see Okada versus Myron Reed for the AEW International Championship. And Myron Reed's been getting a little bit of a push. The Rascals there. Also, you're going to get Mystico, Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey versus the Dogs for the AEW Trios title. Tekla and Marina Shafir versus the Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. Now, this was all taped Wednesday night, so it's not like they're doing this the day before the pay-per-view or anything. Roosh versus Anthony Bowens for the second spot in the Casino Gauntlet. Oh, I already told you what happened. Sorry. Don't ignore what I said there. Sorry. The Young Bucks versus Henchero. How do you say Henchero and El Clone, which is that, and then the Hurt Syndicate will be in action, so they will be back in the ring, and that was taped. That was taped in Edmonton on Wednesday night. So check that out, 8:00 that, there's wrestling tonight, and then there's free wrestling, and then there's pay-per-view wrestling. And then there's actually TNA's you have to pay for that tonight too, as well. I'll get to that and I'll go through that very quickly in a second. But Albert Del Rio was arrested April 6th. You remember him, Albert Patron or whatever, former superstar. He apparently beat up his girlfriend.
Yeah, prison guards remember him.
Yeah, he beat up his girlfriend, and now he's in jail, and he's still in jail. And so it's
maybe you should stay there.
Yeah,
I heard that might get upgraded from assault to attempted murder.
And I saw it was his girlfriend, then it said his wife. So I mean, I don't really know his personal situation. He could be married now. I don't know. But it says his girlfriend. So if Gunther is now taking on is now wrestling against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and he talked to Heyman on Monday, and Heyman thanked him, and he didn't even ask him, he said, but Gunther said that he owes him more for just what he did so far. So now Heyman owes Gunther a favor, which, if you remember last year, it was Heyman owned Punk a favor for the that ended up being him in his corner at WrestleMania, which turned around. But so that was kind of brought up this week. Mike Santana, TNA World Champion, his contract is coming to an end this summer, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Mike Santana. He's been in TNA for 2 years. Can you believe it's been 2 years he's been there? Doesn't seem like that. He left AEW that long ago. But so keep your eye out and see if Mike Santana resigns, or maybe someone takes an interest in him. WWE, I think, might be interested because they have heavily used him in the NXT brand before. So I don't know, or maybe I don't know if AEW is in the market for him, but they could be. That's for sure. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so if you're going to watch SmackDown this week coming up, the only thing that you're going to see on it so far was two things: Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, and you have the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs. And that's what's scheduled for on Friday, WrestleMania Friday, I guess. If you're going to watch TNA Rebellion tonight on pay-per-view, Santana's taking on Eddie Edwards for the TNA World Championship. Maybe this will give you a clue what Santana's doing. Does he, if he retains, his contract's coming to an end, or if he loses, Got Matt and Jeff Hardy versus Bear Bronson and Brian Myers for the TNA Tag Team Championships. Ariana Grace versus Li Ying Lee for the Knockouts title. Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander for the X Division title. Trey Miguel versus Mustafa Ali for the TNA International title. Mickey James, ODB, and Taryn Terrell, who I put in the list. Taryn Terrell, one of our favorites from many years ago, back when she was in the Diva Search contest. She used to come on the show every week. That was about 20 years ago, but she did. Versus Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and M by Elegance in a hardcore country tag match. Mickey James, I was just thinking about Mickey James the other day when she put me in a headlock, and she squeezed when she put me in it, okay? So it wasn't like a soft, cuddly one. She gave me a freaking real headlock, okay? Moose versus Special Agent Zero, and I'm not...
Yeah.
Who's Special Agent Zero?
Big time Bill Collier, former three-time ESWA champion.
They had him in they had the setup too. It's like, I didn't realize he wasn't going by his real name. Okay. Kazarian versus Elijah, Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis. And on the pre-show, Ryan Nemeth is taking on someone named BDE, who is a guy that the internet dude, is he? Is BDE the internet guy?
I don't really know.
I don't either.
I mean, I know what BDE stands for, but I don't know if that's the...
What does it stand
thing
for there, Daniel?
I'm not saying it.
Okay. So the interesting thing is they teased a former champ's going to be showing up, and lo and behold, EC3 was there. Has just showed up. So E3C3, who just left MLW Wrestling, I believe, but now maybe coming back to TNA. And also former Cleveland Brown quarterback Bernie Kosar is going to be in Nick Nemeth's corner for his match. A lot of people probably have no idea who Bernie Kosar is. He used to be a University of Miami quarterback, got drafted by Cleveland Browns and never did anything with them. Did take him to the playoffs. He was the quarterback when Cleveland lost to Denver in the Drive. If you ever remember hearing the name, the Drive, he was involved in that game. I know too much about him, apparently. So that's going to be on pay-per-view tonight and TNA Plus. But if you're going to get on pay-per-view, it's $39.99. Is not listed for Triller TV. So And that's all the news I got. Phew, boy, that took a lot to get through that. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. I hope someone gets to go to TNA this week coming up. They're going to be in Syracuse. They got the pay-per-view tonight, and then they'll be in Syracuse. You definitely, they're taping 2 nights of Impact. So you're going to get a bunch of shows coming out of the Syracuse. That's the 14th and 15th at the On Center. Last we knew they had 900 tickets sold. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's more than that. It was a couple of weeks ago when we looked that up, right, Rob?
I feel like that's what they were up to like now.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah. I don't know if either night has hit 1,000 yet, but
You can make that place look good with not 1,000, I think. If you do it right. I mean, I don't know. We saw was it NXT we saw there? I can't remember. No, we saw WWE there, the On Center.
house show. Yeah.
Yeah, the house show.
I
So
think it was the last time I was at a house show.
yeah, it might be Oh, I was at the one here where Seth Rollins talked about Brody Lee. So that was the last one I went to, I believe. So I do want to throw out that NXT is coming to Riverworks May 14th. It's coming up. Tickets are on sale right now. The bleacher seats have sold out. $30 bleacher seats. Everything else is way more expensive, which is kind of a bummer. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to pay $130 for, a floor seat to watch NXT. I mean, as much as I like seeing the young guys come up and everything, it's like, I don't know. It's asking a lot. And on that note, much like the San Jose crowd last night for WWE and AEW in the past, I don't know if you saw that, Rob, but they had the crowd that came out and booed the heroes, the good guys on SmackDown last night. Sami Zayn got booed like crazy. It was awesome. I mean, he's kind of playing a tweener right now. They're trying to make him go heel, but he's still got fans, obviously. He's a champ. So, but he was playing around with the audience and they were not reacting the way he wanted them to react. So it was an interesting segment on TV last night. But on that note, anything coming up for either of you guys? I mean, we got WrestleMania coming up this week. I don't think we're doing anything spectacular for it. It's just WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, I more than any other year, maybe WWE will figure out something this week that would catch my interest I've never not watched WrestleMania, but I just need something to care about on it, and I don't have anything yet. But especially after how crazy this week will be. But yeah, I mean, for me, like a lot of my viewing this week will be the collective that GCW puts on in Vegas. That starts on Wednesday, technically, and then like 3 shows Wednesday, 4 shows Thursday, 4 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. The highlight really is Joey Janela Spring Break 10 on Friday night, live on Triller TV Plus, including the main event of Joey Janela versus Brody Lee Jr., as well as the Sandman's final match against the Invisible Man. Hayabusa challenges for the GCW World Title. I think it's the best spring break card there's ever been. I think it's one of the best indie wrestling cards I've ever seen put together. So really looking forward to that. But there's a bunch of other shows. I mean, that stuff's going on all day, each day, and that's not even all of the indie wrestling going on in Vegas that'll be streamed. So there's a whole lot coming this week. But
is your roommate going to be there all weekend?
He's already gone. They're got back from wherever they just were. He's doing 3 shows in Vancouver this weekend, which I am jealous of that. So it's like my favorite city. He's not excited about Vancouver, which pisses me off. And then goes from there down to Vegas.
Should ask him if you can find a Costco.
I might actually do that. Yeah. But they've got Tokyo Joshi Pro tonight and tomorrow, and Evil Uno's Mystery Wrestling tomorrow afternoon in Vancouver prior to the pay-per-view there tomorrow night. Yeah, and then like I said, that all starts Wednesday afternoon at the Collective. But obviously, I mean, there's the Josh Barnett's Bloodsport show, which has got Natty and William Regal's son and all those people. One of the most fun shows is the one that's the last one of the week, which is Saturday night after Mania, which is the Cluster F, which is just the insane battle royal that never ends and always has surprises and tons of people and is a blast. So looking forward to a lot of that stuff this week. Yeah.
Very cool. How about you, DC?
Just living life.
Me
I
too.
will hopefully, fingers crossed, be watching Dynasty if my HBO wants to cooperate this month, unlike last month.
Yeah.
And yeah, sadly, for the first time in a very long time, no interest in WrestleMania. Not watching.
Yeah.
You and the people who aren't in the empty seats too, There you go. Yeah, no,
Oh,
I know I'm not the only one, so
you're right. There you,
it's not even me like wanting to be like, oh, I hate WWE. I'm not like I'm protesting watching it. It's not that. I just don't like there's nothing that interests me. I really hope they find a way to change that somehow. But I mean, like Cody and Orton, no. Punk and Reigns, no.
who would have been who would have been if you could have fantasy booked? Who would have you had interest in with Cody? Reigns, maybe? I mean,
No.
who?
Reigns
Been there, done
for like
that.
what, the 50th time?
Well, maybe Reigns would win one, against Cody.
He has won
Oh,
one.
that's right. He did win one. Yeah, he did.
I
But
mean, I'd probably
the
have
one that I said he would win, that everybody else said that he wouldn't.
yeah, it's true. That's the one. Well, that was the one everybody was disappointed at the end of WrestleMania. It's like, oh,
It wasn't. I was okay with it.
yeah. I don't know.
Probably also one of the last times I cared about WrestleMania.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who I would put with Cody. I don't even know I'm so
Danhausen.
detached from that.
No.
I mean, honestly, I would rather see that. That's not
Jelly Roll. We get Jelly Roll and Cody.
no. And I mean, I would have CM Punk working the hot dog stand. So I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, there's something undercard wise that like can catch my interest. I don't know.
Well, folks, so I let people know we're going to go through the whole cards next week, and hopefully we'll find something interesting in there in that card. But we will go from the beginning.
I mean, even if they were just like Danhausen's like the host, as opposed to John Cena, like that could have been fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised Cena's not going into the Hall of Fame. That's one thing that surprised me so far. Because, I mean, he's going to, but they're just
Can't have someone overshadow Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. I think if you do John Cena, it'd be the only one you'd want to put in, because he's that important, but they didn't, I don't know. I'm not going to make any predictions on the future, but we're going to get out of here, folks. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Same bat time. Same